Ladies and gentlemen, K-Kim here. Welcome to the daily update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is up about 0.4% on the S&P. NASDAQ a little bit higher today, about 1.5% positive. Semiconductor continues to march higher, 3% positive today. Dow's flat. Russell 2000, the small caps are up about 1.5% there. Banks, energy, and the transport, they're down about 0.6% or so. Biotech finally caught a bid, up about 2.65%. Emerging market is up about 0.5%. Bitcoin is down about 1.5%. Gold and silver finally making some gains, but they've been struggling quite a bit. We got oil here down 1.5%. These guys are negative. Let's stick with the S&P 500 ETF, Spider 65-minute chart here and follow up with what we've been talking about this week. So this was last night's close here, right? And today it looks like we saw that gap up. That's the first hour, second hour, third hour. We continued on to march to the upside. The good news about that march we saw in the first 3 hours. We've been talking about this gap that's been open for how many days now? Pretty much second half of the March. This gap has been opened up for very, very long time. With this gap that was open, a lot of shenanigans and volatilities and some hecticness came into the market in the short term and made things a little bit hectic in the second half of the March, but bulls finally got around to it, finally got up here and filled it today. We stalled here a little bit last couple of days or so underneath that level, a little bit of jitteriness there, but finally with confidence today, bulls filled it. And we all know that when the gap gets filled, especially when we're back at that resistance area, that all-time high level on the Spider. I know that S&P, I think the cash market actual index itself, I believe we printed new all-time high. So yes, this is the S&P, actual S&P 500 index. We did print new all-time highs intraday basis, but let's stick with the Spider. So you can see that we're just right on that all-time high level. We pulled back, the gap got filled. So even though we pulled back a little bit towards last hour, we saw that fade. Good news is that that gap has been filled. That threat has been neutralized. With that, in that process, buyers were able to cultivate higher highs, and that's another higher high today, right? And that's what happens in an uptrend. We got the higher highs here, and this was yesterday. So you can see when we give benefit of the doubt to the buyers, the market is going to cultivate that higher low, and then it gets up to cultivate that higher high, right? So as of today, as of this moment, with the data that is at hand, we are continuing to trade above the short-term moving average. We've been tracking this short-term moving average ever since it got above you can see the short-term average been acting as resistance here back in March 23rd and 24th. But once we got above it in March 26th, that's when our, my analysis, that short-term sentiment shifted to bullish because that short-term moving average no longer supporting the bears. Instead, it is now flipping back to support the buyers, and the trajectory of that short-term moving average no longer declining, but it is now rising. So from current support is prior resistance acting as new support here. That's definitely prior resistance right here. That's a 396 area, right here. Prior resistance acting as new support. It is no coincidence we kind of stopped selling there in that vicinity, right? Market is just trying to figure out what it's gonna do next. So if we don't find support here tomorrow, there's a gap here that's been open, hasn't been filled. So this area is going to provide support at 395. Keep in mind where the short-term moving average is residing today. Remember, the short-term moving average does have pretty impressive resume in the short term. So we want to keep an eye on that short-term moving average, just residing just underneath that gap area. So 394 is going to be kind of like a double support because we got that gap area and the short-term moving average residing in that vicinity. So I want to continue to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers in the short term. Let's check out that oscillator real quick and see how we can find any more, we can extract any more information with today's price action. So we did see that crossing back up because last night when we're doing the analysis, as you can see, this is what it looked like, right? This is what it looked like. So this is why most people don't understand how to truly use their oscillator correctly. They actually think right away, once you see that oscillator crashing down, oh, that's a sell signal. That's why you must understand the oscillators and indicators that you use. They should be a subordinate, right? Supplement to your price action analysis. And then I gave you guys that example of something like this right here, that things like that could potentially happen where, we could see that cross back up. And so we saw that how quick, and I think that gap up really helped. Once that gap up, and then it continued on for 3 hours. And you guys kind of hear me say this a lot, is that when you see some kind of a gap up or move while the oscillator is curling down, for it to curl back up, you want to see at least 2 hours continuation to the upside. So with that 3 hours of continuation, definitely had enough time to curl it back up and continue to move higher currently. And with that fade that we saw towards the last hour, it looks like that oscillator is kind of sideways. We haven't crossed back down or anything, but still giving us that sort of a bullish sentiment. So we want to continue to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers going into tomorrow, but at the same time understanding that we have levels right here, 396 as current support. If we break lower, we got 395 and 394. This vicinity, this gap vicinity, is going to act as a stronger support. I'll come back for you. Enjoy your evening and good luck trading tomorrow.